Greetings everyone, welcome to another live stream. Today we're going to do something pretty cool. If you managed to catch my last video where I showed you how to make these wax pack packages, you can get a closer look at these. They're pretty awesome. So basically, if you're not familiar, I sort of switched the direction of the YouTube channel, and now I'm focusing on making cool stuff, basically reverse engineering all that cool stuff that you used to order from the back of comic book ads and things like that, or just cool stuff from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Reverse engineer that, kind of remake it, but kind of put our own unique spin on it. So that's what we're doing, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So hopefully, I've got some wax packs here. Let's see what we got. All right, so I'm going to kind of go through the whole process, because what happened last time was, on the last video, it was a little more edited and everything, so it was a little more fast-paced. But this time we're going to slow it down a little bit. I'll be answering any questions or whatever, and hopefully I'm live. Yeah, okay, there we go. We see Salazar, our nation. We got Frank in the chat. And also, this is Q&A, so, and Frank, let me know if everything sounds good as far as audio and everything, picture quality and all that. We had some bugs kind of last, it wasn't too bad, but my goal with this channel is to constantly improve and get, better, whether it's picture quality, sound quality, and just overall experience for everyone watching this. And my other goal is just to build a community here where people can kind of take some inspiration from all this and make their own projects, and kind of get some feedback from you guys, and some input from you guys of stuff that you'd like to maybe see recreated or whatever. Or I'd like to, at some point build that community where everyone is just kind of sharing ideas and things like that. So that's sort of the goal, what we're trying to do with the channel here. So anyway, let me switch back here. Anyway, so I'm talking, I forgot. That's the one thing I got to work on, is sort of this new setup and everything. Because before you're just kind of seeing my hands, which in certain situations is going to be good, because I want you to see the process of making these wax packs. And we've got a few different ones. I'll kind of show you here. So I got some other ones that you may have not seen yet. So we've got some Young and the Dead ones that we're going to do, just so it's not the same thing. And then these other ones that I created. The Mad Lab Monsters, which is kind of these mix and match monster cards. So we've got a bunch of different ones that we're going to do. We're just going to have fun with it, and hopefully you guys will learn how everything's working. Video looks good. There's a slight static noise, unless it's part of the show. Well, there is a background music, and I don't know if that's what it is. Hopefully, I don't know. Okay, the static went away. Okay. So, and of course, different people's experience may vary. Last stream some people said there were issues, but not everyone had the same issues. So sometimes it's not always on my end, but if it is on my end, I'll do my best to kind of correct that. All right. So what we're going to do first is, let's see here. So we're not going to be printing any of these. They're already printed. Okay. So, but we got Landon Hoover in there. How's it going, Landon?
Welcome, true believers and newcomers alike.
Welcome, true believers. All right, let me know, and I might in the beginning call out some of those sound effects, because I had some issues with some of my sound effects coming in so far. So, but it's good to see some familiar faces in here. So, first off, if you hadn't seen the video, and I'll explain this a little better. So, we start off, in order to get that wax pack feel, and let me see if I've got some here, just to show you the originals. Oh, you know what? Let me bring the mic a little closer. You tell me, does that sound better? So these are wax packs here. These are vintage wax packs, Baseball's Greatest Gross Outs. And like the name implies, they sort of have this waxy feel, and they just don't make these anymore. And I found there was one company online that say they make these wax packs. I ordered some samples, and they weren't like wax packs. They were wax on one side and kind of paper on the other, which that's not the experience I want to create. But with some help actually from a viewer, I did a wax pack video a while back, and I got some feedback on a different way to do this, so I'm kind of incorporating that. So I want to thank anyone that's, and that's the other thing, like when building a community, if anyone's got better ideas or better ways of doing something, be sure to let me know, and then we'll incorporate all that, because I'm just experimenting with this stuff. You know, I don't, I just try to figure out ways to do this, and this is kind of the best way that I've came up with. And it is a little, you know, it is, you know, I've asked people, oh, can you make me a set of wax packs or whatever, and it's a little labor intensive. Not too bad if you're just making it for fun, but if you're trying to mass produce these things, maybe not the best route to go. But anyway, so what we're going to start off with, or what I already did start off with, sort of like a cooking show where we've got some pre-prepared stuff, and I want to kind of go through the process. So this is and I should have left, if you go to the other video, there's a list of where you can find all this stuff, but this is just Crayola tracing paper. It's 25 pound? Yeah, 25 pound tracing paper. The issue that I discovered with this, that didn't actually come up when the guy was, you know, the member of my audience was showing me how to do this. He was running through his laser printer like it was nothing. I ran into the problem with these being too thin. So what the solution I came up with is just to get a glue stick. So you got a glue stick right here, all right? And then you take that glue stick, and then you just kind of go over every edge, and you got to do it fast because this glue kind of dries real quick. So you go over every edge of this paper. Then you take your tracing paper. This is it's a little crinkly. I would use a fresh sheet normally, but let's see. All right. And then that will give it the thickness that you can run it through. If you have a laser printer, that's ideal. If you don't have a laser printer, then you can also, what I was doing, I was just taking to like the copy shop and using their self-service machines and kind of running this through. You can do it on a laser jet, or inkjet rather. The problem with inkjet is it takes a little while to dry, so you don't want to print like 5 at a time because it'll just smear the whole thing. Print 1 at a time. You know, take it out, let it dry, and that's the key if you're going to use a laser printer. But I mean, if you're going to use an inkjet printer. So anyway, that's kind of the trick I found to actually printing these. But now that we've got these printed, I'm going to go ahead, and I've already got some pre-made. So I think what I'll do, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do first here. I'm going to wrap some of these. And okay, we've got Blood and Teeth. How you doing? I should call. I forgot that I can pull some of these up. We've got Frank and Landon. So again, thanks for everyone that's joining. And feel free, if there's any questions about any of this stuff, let me know. They're half wax packs, yeah. All right, so let me set these aside real quick. So the main thing you need is paraffin wax, or what the other trick is, like a white unscented candle, and it's not as tricky as you might think. When I list all the tools and things, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, you got to wax, melt this down and do all that. It's really not that difficult. So you don't have to melt anything or anything like that. You do need, I've got this little tool here. That's going to seal it. But if you don't have this tool, which is just kind of like a hot knife type thing with a flat blade on it. But if you don't have that tool, no problem. You can use like a curling iron or just a regular iron set to low, because it doesn't take much. So what we're going to do here is, well, these are already, you know what, these are already have the wax on it, so I'm not going to use these ones here. But let me pull one that doesn't. And these files here, I've got these templates. I think you can still access it through, if you're on my newsletter, if you go to the archive on my newsletter, I think you can still access this file. And then there's different Patreon tiers that have, like, certain Patreon tiers have all the artwork and everything, so you could actually print these things the way they are and mess around with them. But if you just want the basic template, I think you can do that. I think that's on the newsletter in the archive. I've got a Substack, So, and to do that, you just go to my website. If you join the newsletter, you also get the free Comic Maker Starter Kit. All right, so I'm just going to cut some of these out. And like I said, it's glued on the edges here, but once we cut these out, we're going to cut that glue off. So we're not going to, you won't have to worry about it. So I'm just going to go ahead, and you can do this with either a paper cutter, or I'm using an X-Acto knife here. I'm just going to go ahead and cut these. And a metal, you want to use a metal ruler. Otherwise, if you use like a plastic ruler, this X-Acto knife will cut right into it. Or like I said, this is a pretty simple cut, so you could just do it with a paper cutter. And I have a paper cutter behind me that I might use to speed up the process. But I just want to show you that you can use different techniques and everything. So now we've got our wrappers. We'll just peel this off of this backer, and then we've got our thin. This is just printed on the tracing paper, and now we're going to apply the wax. We'll get rid of this stuff here, and let's see what I have. And it's like I said, it's a fairly simple process. Once you got Robert Foster in the house. Hey, Robert, how's it going?
Welcome, true believers and newcomers alike.
Are you serious? Do I really? Oh my God, do I? Is that wax? That might have been wax. Wow. Okay. Well, that's what happens when you go live. So, had apparently a booger or something hanging out my nose. I think it might have been wax. I don't know. Okay, that's the one thing, is your hands are going to get a little waxy when you do this. All right. Every day is an adventure. Okay, so. I've got this paraffin wax, and basically I'm just going to rub it. I'm going to press down pretty hard and rub this right over both the front and back of these labels or package or however you want to call it. And you can go over it, as many times as you want. Now, the thing you have to be careful about is you got to hold it down, because these things are super flimsy and light, and if you just kind of like that, you're going to crinkle it all up. So make sure you put in some pressure down with your hand, and you're not going to just bend this stuff or crinkle it all up. All right. And you also need the wax to make a seal. So, and that's where I'm going to have to turn on that little heat tool here in a minute. Let me plug that in. I don't know how hot this thing gets, so I don't have it plugged in yet. I'm just going to plug it in and plug it out when I need it. All right. Okay. So we've done the one side. We're going to flip it around. We're going to do the next side here. Yeah, that's why they're called wax packs. They're basically, now this isn't actually, I'm sure this isn't the same process they used when they were originally printing them. I'm sure it was some kind of wax paper or a seal that they put on with some kind of machine or something like that. And they're screen printed, so you could probably screen print on wax. You can't really print on wax paper through like a traditional, like a laser or inkjet. So that's why you have to apply this after. But I'd be interested to find or to learn the actual. I'd be interested to figure out the actual process of how the original wax packs were done. All right. So now we've got our pack. So now we're going to pull out some stickers, actually. So let me see here. I'm going to find out, make sure I got a whole set here. So I've got a whole set of stickers. The other thing a lot of the old wax packs had was a stick of bubble gum. The bubble gum that they had, they were, you can find like sticks of chewing gum, but sticks of bubble gum, that's a different story. That's a little harder to come by. So what I found the best thing to do is use this bubble tape. Here's a little tab here. Pull that off. And then I've got some kitchen shears here. I'm just going to take a little piece of it off. I'm going to put that there. About the size of one of the trading cards. And then I'm just going to set that there. The other thing, because the the packs or the labels here are on tracing paper. They're somewhat transparent, and the artwork's going to kind of show through. So I usually like to put just a piece of paper on top so it doesn't show through as much. And now we've got our gum, we've got our stickers, and we want to kind of line it up. Now, these stickers, there's like 9 of them. This is basically the whole set in one pack. And these are also, there's a limited number of these available on my website if you want to order a pack of these. They probably won't last very long, but okay. So now that we've got that sandwich there, it's kind of like wrapping a present. So we're gonna pull this. Let's see if I can remember the right way to do that. We're gonna pull this down, pull this over. You see that? You can kind of crease it here a little bit, and then when you push this, see there's a slight angle there. So you want that slight angle. I'm gonna fold another one up here. Now, some of these will be easier when they're not like a whole 9 cards. Although I think all the ones I'm doing today are about 9 cards. Typically they're a little thick. So if you're wrapping like a traditional set, they may be a little thinner and everything too. So now we're going to pull this over here. And what's going to happen is the wax is going to bind when we heat it up. We'll pull it over here. All right. And we're going to get our heat tool. Hopefully I think this is on. Hopefully this is on. I'm afraid to. Okay, yeah, it's on. Just going to go over that. Let's see, and I think that'll do it. That should have sealed it. Let me go over it once more here. And you can always put on the edges here. You probably want to put more wax. But there you go. There's a finished wax pack here. So pretty cool, huh? All right. So now that we've got, and since I'm making some of these here, we'll have a few more in the store for you guys because we're running out. But we've got those there. So what do you say we try a different one here? What do you say we try some of these Young and the Dead ones? Now, if you're not familiar, Young and the Dead is my comic book series. It is a kids versus zombie adventure story. Just think Goonies meets Night of the Living Dead. And here we go. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. We'll pull up some of these comments here. Blood and Teeth says I might have to try to make some of these. Yeah, that's the whole idea. That's kind of what I want to get people to do is try some of this stuff out and see how it works for it. And then we got a comment here, nasty. Yeah, I mean these are kind of all. I'm into all the gross cards like what is it like the wacky packages, the Garbage Pail Kids. I did on the last live stream. I unboxed a ton of gross wax packs and things like that you can check out. So, all right, so let's cut out another one. We're going to do the Young and the Dead. These are trading cards based on my comic book series. So we'll just cut these out real quick. And if there are any questions, just let me know. One thing that I forgot to do on the last stream, and I forgot again this time, is have a garbage can here for all this stuff. So I'm just going to throw it on the ground here. So I got this crazy setup here, and once I get started, I always forget something. So again, we've got our wax packs here. We're doing a different one, and then we're going to start. Like I said, this time I'm gonna put a little bit more wax on the very edges of these where it's going to seal, just so I get a tighter bond. And I'm just gonna press this over here. Go all the way around. See that I did what I so that's a good demonstration. So I just crinkled it because I was going a little too fast. You gotta make sure that you're putting pressure on this so your packs aren't going to bend. You can kind of straighten that out a little more just by applying more pressure. That usually will fix the issue. All right, so hopefully that's enough wax on the back side. Let's do the front side now. At first, when I had experimented and I've done a few with the inkjet printer, and even though the inkjet, you know, it'll smudge if you don't let it dry. It seems like once it's dry, it doesn't. I was worried that the wax would smudge it, but I don't think it does. So. So that's basically it. And of course on video you probably can't see it as well as far as how it's waxy and all that. But believe me, this is very authentic looking. So again, so now we're gonna find some of our cards here. So we've got these are some of my Young and the Dead trading cards. These are actually left over from my first Kickstarter. And I think these are going to be a little thinner, so I'll just show some of these off. So just all the different characters, just like the old classic Star Wars cards, non-sports cards. That's kind of what I'm into. So we've got that, and then we're going to do put the little piece off the end here. Stick a bubble gum. Place that there, and I don't think I'm going to be actually selling these particular ones. I might give some of these away, either as prizes or with other orders. But if you get one of these, I might recommend not eating the gum. It's probably, it's probably not the best gum, but I mean, and these are more for, probably won't hurt you. But all right, so here we go. We've got. I'm just going to center these right here. So Crapola says it's awesome to watch the process. Yeah, I thought it would be good because I did get a lot of questions and stuff. And this way I can always refer somebody to this if I was too fast in the original video. And if you haven't seen that original video, definitely check it out because I think it's one of my best videos to date. All right, so again, we're gonna fold the top and bottom first. And like I said, as we fold it, it's gonna on this side, it's gonna kind of crease to a little bit of an angle. Do that. You wanna kind of hold it tight. Bend it over here. Like that. And this will go good too if you order like regular wax packs and you open them and you wanna re-wrap them. And I'm not saying re-wrap them and like see what's in it and then try to resell them like they're new, because people can tell if it's re-wrapped. Don't do that. But if you're just, if you just want to if you want to check out what's in there for yourself, and then you want to just re-wrap them so you have the packs again, or however, just play around with them. That's kind of the idea here. So I guess technically UPC code should be on the outside, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to scan it if we were actually selling these at a store. All right, so and you can kind of go across the edges and crease these a little bit. I mean, these are just like 100% better than the last. If you saw the last video I did, not the last video, but a while back I did a wax pack video, and this technique I wasn't as familiar with yet. So this is just so much better. And it looks like, let's see that. And the heat does look like it does affect the printing a little bit, but see, these aren't sticking. I'm gonna try to press down a little bit here, and that should bond them. But that's part of the charm of these old wax packs, because the printing was a little offset. They weren't always wrapped perfectly, so that kind of rushed look, I guess, or like it was done by a machine, or that, like I said, the printing wasn't always that great. to me, that's part of the charm compared to now with just the foil and plastic. I mean, technically they look better, they're better printed, but it just doesn't have, I don't know, it's just not the same to me as something more like this. So again, we've got a couple different examples here of these, and yeah, why don't we do a third? All right. How many cards usually come in a pack? Edie wants to know how many cards usually come in a pack. So that really varies. It sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 10. It's usually between 6 and 10. It also varies if it's cards versus stickers. If it's stickers, it's typically less. So like these I did they're cards. But in my case, they're all 9. And the reason why they're all 9 is because on a standard, if you're in the US, a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet, kind of like this, you can fit about 9 cards on there. So I usually make a set or cards or stickers. So that's why most of mine have 9. And these aren't like if you buy these, it's not like, oh, I got to buy 5 packs so I can try to build a set. The ones I do, there's basically 9 cards total, and they all come in one pack. So when you buy one of these, you get the whole pack. All right, let's do another fun one. I've got, let me see what we got. Yeah, so these Mad Lab Monsters. Now these are some that I did a while back. I'll kind of show you. Well, I gotta be careful. You can't see, it's off screen, but I'm reaching over to get these cards and I almost burnt my hand on that heat tool. All right, so these cards here, let me open up, I'll just take these out here. So they're these monster cards, and there's still some, I think, available in there's full sets, and the full sets of these, I think, are, I'm trying to remember how many cards are in a set. They're more than 9, but they're kind of a bigger pack. And they usually come wrapped with this band on it. So the ones if you order these, and there might be a few left, but if you order these online, you won't get the wax packs with them. They're just kind of wrapped like this, and there's the full set. This is 9 cards, and then the full set is probably like 9 times 3. But so we've got different heads. There's 3 heads in every pack. There's the way that I'm wrapping them here. There's at least 1 full character. So you can take this. Which one is the full character? Oh, it's the here. Oh, we got it there. We've got the Wolfman. So these ones are all based on classic monsters, and I think I've also got some Greek gods, and I think I had Wizard of Oz robots, but I think they're all sold out. So, and of course you can mix them up. You can put different legs and stuff and create your own creation. So that's kind of that. So that's what this set is here. Why did they give up on? Okay, that's a good question, Edie. So why did they give up on wax pack in favor of plastic and foil? It's the thing is, like I said, there's a lot of, when you look at these wax packs, the classic ones, the printing's a little off. It's not. I mean, it's technically not as nice as the newer ones. The newer ones are, again, they're shiny. The printing is pretty accurate. They're more colors. Like with the original wax packs, it's screen printed, so you might get like 4 colors and some halftones and different things like that. So they wanted something that was a little more probably attractive to the average buyer. So when they print something like that, like if you look at the standard stuff, like nowadays, like the Yu-Gi-Oh or the Pokemon or whatever the Magic cards, they're usually like foil cards, and they're really shiny and attractive to most people. But I'm into it for the vintage, that vintage look. So that's why they switched over. Okay, so now that I got these cards, I'm going to cut out another set here of these Mad Lab Monsters. So again, if you're tuning in late, these templates, I'm trying to remember, because I've got the templates that are on my newsletter, and there's a Substack, so I think you can go in the archive and still find these if you join my newsletter. But I don't think they have all the artwork on like this. And then there's a couple different tiers on my Patreon, and as you go up, the more you kind of get as far as the bonuses and things that come along with it. But even if you just want the basic, the basic templates, you can get those for free by joining my mailing list. All right, now what did I do with the? Oh. All right, so let's wax up another one of these. We got our paraffin wax. I'll try to repeat some of these steps just for the people who may have missed. And I don't think that this one I didn't mention bubblegum on. So I guess this one doesn't only include the gum. But so again, I'm going to press down. That thing is getting kind of hot. I'm going to turn it. Or maybe I'll keep it on for a second. All right. Okay, I'm trying to add a little more wax on the edges here, because that's the part that's going to bond these things together. And again, always be careful. I'm getting ahead of myself, and then I'm kind of crinkling the paper. And this is tracing paper. Tracing paper that I glued the edges of a 8.5 by 11. Put the tracing paper on down to give it a little more stability and allow it to run through a standard printer. And then once I get those, then I just cut them all out. And I don't know what the magic number is as far as passes. You can go horizontally and vertically. And remember, front and back. So now we'll go. Just like that. The template, yeah, there's an old template that when I did the old video that's probably still up. I did a video probably, I don't know what, maybe 3 years ago or something, maybe more or less, I don't know. But that old template is probably still on the internet. But I think the new one's a little better. And like I said, it's free. You just have to just join the mailing list. And I think once you get on the Substack, which is it's kind of like a cross between an email and a blog. I think you can go back in the archives and you can find those. And with each project I do here on the channel, I mean, it makes sense to join the mailing list, because with each project, and same thing with the Patreon, you're going to get the templates and things like that. So, I'll have some people, they'll join just to get the Comic Maker starter kit or something like that, and then they'll like bail. It'll be like, so-and-so subscribed, so-and-so unsubscribed, which is fine. Those are kind of like, but the thing is, if you're into free stuff, it makes sense to stay on the thing, because you're going to continue to get free stuff. So that's all I'll say about that. Yeah. All right. Okay. So now let's get our cards here. And then again, I want to get the little white thing here. Turn around, make sure everything's kind of right side up. And I guess it doesn't matter which side. I guess you would place the artwork side up, not the back side. So we got that. Okay, now we're gonna fold these in. Let me see that. Oh, maybe I should go this view here. All right. So we'll fold this in. Again, just press down. This one's a little thinner because it doesn't have the gum in it. I don't know. I think the reason why I didn't include the gum, it's not totally centered. You want to kind of pay attention at least a little bit where the. Let me start over here. Since they're see-through, you can kind of see where to press these down. So I want to get that right about there. There we go. All right, now let's pull this over. Again, it's just like you're wrapping a present. I usually do the top and bottom first. Pull those over like that. Okay. And then the side without the UPC should flip inside first. Press that down. And then there's another one. And just press it down tight. And then here we go with our heat tool. Again, if you don't have one of these tools, no worries. You can use I'm gonna let it dry a little bit and then press down to seal it. Hopefully that's enough. Just give it a good, press down on it. Get a nice seal to it. And there you go. So now we've got 3 different versions of the wax packs. Pretty cool. I like this whole color scheme here, And I always do research and I look at old non-sports cars and old wax packs to kind of get a feel for what the designs look like, some of the colors and things that they used. And again, they screen printed some stuff, so some of those colors you might not be able to get just on a printer. But I don't know, these look pretty bright and vibrant, and I'm pretty happy with the way those came out. Okay, this is what I like about the stream, because we get a lot of questions and things to think about here. So what if you heated the wax packs in a toaster oven or something to melt the wax onto the paper? Or that might be unnecessary. I would just, the thing is, I don't know how long you would leave it in for. I don't know if the tracing paper would catch fire, because it's not like parchment paper. I was going to say you might be able to use parchment paper, but you can't run parchment paper through a printer. It's not going to stick. So I wouldn't probably recommend that. Plus, I think it's kind of an extra step, because it's really not that difficult to just, again, do these. But if you're just talking about sealing them, if you're just talking about sealing the actual packs, like I said, a curling iron would work the same as something like this. This little tip, it's a specialty tip. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can show you here. Okay, this little specialty tip. I did get this from the same place that I ordered those wax packs, the place that made custom wax packs, that I wasn't really happy with the way they look, because they weren't like real wax packs. But they have this little tool thing, so I ordered that from them. And I think if you just look online for like custom wax packs, or I forgot the name of the company that made them, but they have a few of these available that you can attach to that, and it's just a regular like wood engraving tool or something. But like I said, you can just use a curling iron or a regular iron. That's probably the easiest way to do it. So let's see. Yeah, I think any tracing paper will do. All right, so we've got, let's see, what do we want to do next? Let's go ahead and make another gross food, because I got to have some of these. Let me plug that heat thing back in. All right. So let me get another pack here. Make sure it's a full set. So we got this. We want to pull a little bit of the bubble gum out there. Like I said, the bubble tape is the closest thing I found to the actual bubble gum that they used to do. It's not quite as wide. The other one was a little thicker, but most people are just gonna be excited that there's gum in there. Probably not because they want to eat it, but just because that's the way it used to be. I'm trying to keep this stuff. Another goal I'm trying to do with these projects is keep them pretty authentic. So. All right, so this one I already waxed this one up, but let me go one more time just to make sure I've got enough, at least on the edges. I assume the wax will just reactivate itself. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But it doesn't hurt to have a little more wax there. And again, the gross food ones, they are available if you want to pick yourself up a pack. They are available on my website at surfworks.com. All right, now we're going to place that there. And we're going to fold the top first and the bottom. Oh, let me get you a better view here. Sorry about that. All right. And the other thing I might play around with is on these live streams is, I don't know if during the weekday is the best for, everyone, or, everyone's got their own schedule, so you can't really please everyone, but I might play around with some different times just to see, The reason it says my audience is online around this time, that's when they're probably most active, but I think that also is because that's when I typically post videos. So I'm gonna fold this side in, the one without the UPC, and I'm gonna fold this side over. Make sure it's tucked in there tight. And again, it doesn't have to be too perfect because even the originals weren't. I mean, if I showed you some of these, I mean, you can, obviously these are old, but they're, you know, they're not always wrapped the best, but okay. And you gotta also be careful not to burn yourself on this. Okay, there you go. I'm just gonna let it cook. And then I'm gonna press down, but it seems like it doesn't, I was worried that if I press down on it right away, it'd be too hot, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. It only takes a second for it to at least be cool to the touch. So there you go, there's another one. All right, let's try another one. So I'm gonna get this got wax on? No, maybe not. All right, so I thought I'd put wax on some of these already, but it never hurts to do more wax. It's not going to hurt it. But I don't know. This is just sort of it's just sort of a fun thing to do, you know. And with the different projects that I'm going to be doing on the channels, I mean, some of them will be easier than others. I'm trying, at least with these first ones, to make them things that most people can do with just material that's not that difficult to get, you know. I don't know, as time goes on, and it's hopefully with this channel, as it grows, you know, it may get to the point where I start looking into some bigger projects that involve maybe like 3D printing or things like that, which I know nothing about now, but that's kind of the whole idea behind making sort of a maker channel, is that you're learning this stuff as you go. Okay, let's get another one out. Let's see another set here. Oh, in case you haven't, I guess I can show some of these off. If you missed some of those videos, so these are my gross food stickers. They're just disgusting food. You got the pizza, the hamburger, which I've kind of dubbed the brain burger, donut, a club sandwich, a pretzel, the popsicle. What's the other one there? There is a wrap of some sort with slugs and it's like frog legs coming out of it. A taco with some cigarette butts and a tongue and maggots, and then just some really disgusting sushi. So there you go. All right, let's get another stick of gum here. Oh, okay, here we go. We got some, let me set these down here and let me address the chat because you guys have some questions. Let's see. So Edie says, once I found a shoebox full of hundreds of baseball cards in it, but when I looked them up online, they were worth pennies each. So I threw them. Yeah, that's the case. I've got a whole box of old stuff, and unless you have, I mean, really, if they're still in the pack, they're probably worth something. If they're not, you know, there's always exceptions to every rule. But like Garbage Pail Kids, especially the first ones, they're pretty valuable, especially in the pack. They're real pricey. But But yeah, a lot of the stuff, it just kind of depends. A lot of it's not as worth as much as I thought. But to me, for me, it's worth something because it just brings back my childhood, which is the other kind of thing that this channel is kind of all about. So Crapola says, do a poll on all platforms, different types, and see what one gets the most hits. Yeah, that's as I go, that's what I'm gonna try to. I'm constantly like looking at analytics and all that kind of stuff and see what I need, either the way I edit the videos or whatever, to kind of make, to kind of reach a wider audience. Let's see, and then Salazar Nation wants to know, will you be redoing the actual cards or let the older videos speak for you? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Frank. You might have to elaborate on that. Redoing the old cards. You mean like the old Young and the Dead, or yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. And then let's see, we got some more questions. These are all good. We've got some good questions. Why not wrap the gum in plastic to protect it, please? Well, I mean, the thing is, with the wax, it kind of, again, I'm trying to, if I don't want to, other than the little piece of paper that I add, the original packs didn't have, the gum wasn't wrapped, so it was just part of it. So it's more of a novelty than, again, I would suggest if you get the gum, probably don't eat it. It's probably not the best gum in the world anyway. If you want the gum, you can pick up a pack of, if you want it, you can pick up just a roll of bubble tape or whatever. But the originals didn't really have, they didn't wrap the gum separately. It'd be nice if they did, but they just didn't. So I'm just trying to keep it true to sort of the way they're packaged before. But it's not, I think in the description online, I put a stick of stale bubble gum just to kind of, because that's basically what you were getting most of the time, was just this stale, nasty gum. And that's even when it was fairly new, not when it's been sitting around forever. So, so there you go. All right, so let's wrap another one of these. Again, we're going to fold the top. I'm going to crease it there. And then fold the bottom up. And there's not a whole lot of space because it's kind of the thickness of this. Usually a pack of stickers isn't as thick as this. So I should have probably, because I'm putting so many thick cards in here, I should have probably made a little bit more, made this a little bit bigger. But again, I wanted to fit 2 labels on an 8.5 by 11. If you're in the US, otherwise it would be like A4, I guess. And then just fold that over, set that down. All right, now let's seal that. Let it dry just for a second. Make sure it's not hot to the touch, and then press down on it. And there you go. That'll give you a pretty good seal. Now, the only thing I don't know is, like, if you live somewhere where it's really hot, and it's really hot a lot of different places, it's possible that, just like glue, I live in Arizona where it's super hot. So I had my rear view mirror fall off my car because it got so hot that the glue that held the rear view mirror up, just got, glue, once it heats up, it's just like, it's basically like it was before it dried. So so it's possible if they get super hot, they may lose their seal. I don't know. I'm not too sure of the difference between like wax and glue and everything. All right, so let's see. What do you say? Oh, Crapola's in Arizona too. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, it's funny because like when people order stuff or whatever, it seems like there's a lot of I get a lot of Arizona addresses. I'm like, oh, cool. There's somebody out here. So yeah, at some point I wanted to get like a drink and draw thing going for local people. Let me see. But where's my? Okay, let's do another Mad. Just because I kind of like these, we'll do another Mad Monster one here. All right. So, again, we're going to start with our paraffin wax. And you can kind of switch sides and everything. Eventually you'll get where it's kind of got just from pressing it down, wear away. But I mean, this thing is going to last like forever. So, and if you go to the original video, there's links to all of these supplies and things. on that video that you can get from, you know, Amazon or. And just to reiterate, because I've made this mistake a few times, you want to hold down the wax paper because it will crinkle up. And I'll go both horizontal and vertical. And if it does crinkle, sometimes just by pressing it down, you can get it to kind of straighten out a little bit. It's exactly nice little pokey. So that's kind of the format of what I'm doing with the channel. If you aren't familiar, is that I'll have my kind of highly edited videos one week, and then whatever that video is about, I'm going to follow it up with one of these live streams on the following week, because I can't really post those highly edited videos every single week. They just take way too long to do. The live streams don't take as long to do, although I spent most of the morning setting everything up. So eventually I hope to get a setup that works, that's a little easier. But so that way you get kind of the faster paced videos, and then we'll kind of dive deeper in these things here. So I've got another pack of these mix and match monster cards. Let's just see what's in here. We've got, looks like the Invisible Man, we've got Mr. Hyde, we've got Dracula, and then we've got the bodies for some of these guys. So we've got these, and with each one of these, as I've labeled here, I don't know if you can see that. So each one of these, and I'm not really selling these, but like with other orders, I may throw some of these in there. So I got 9 monster cards, and then there's 3 heads, 3 bodies, and 3 legs, and you can kind of mix and match them. So these ones, I did not list that they would have any bubblegum, so. Just because I didn't have room on the thing to list all that. So that's probably why. And that's kind of the way it was with those old packs. Some of them had gum, some didn't, and I don't know the rhyme or reason to why some didn't. Because most of the companies that put these, you know, these out, they started probably, I'm guessing, as candy companies. So it's just weird that you can't find that gum. I've looked all over for, like, I thought maybe I could find a pack of, just a big pack of that old gum, you know, that in all the sticks of bubble gum, but I can't really find it anywhere. And they stopped. I don't think any trading cards have gum anymore. But that's what makes them nostalgic, and that's what I'm into. I'm into kind of recreating this nostalgic stuff, because, like I said, the printing quality on newer stuff, the foil and the see this, I put enough. You could almost seal it with just the heat of your hand if you get enough wax on there. It's almost a seal, but I'm just gonna play it safe and kind of run that over there just in case, and kind of melt it a little bit, but give it a little better seal. And hopefully that's not damaging the inside cards, but like if I was here, I've got a whole box, and so I'm just gonna open one of these. I opened one of these on the last live stream. So these are my Baseball's Greatest Gross Out stuff. These aren't mine, I didn't create these. These are actually vintage, and you'll see what the gum looks like. That's why I said even the newer one gum you don't want. But I've got a whole box of these, and I want to try to put together a set. All right. So so that's one thing that I'm going to probably do on my Patreon stream, is do a set. So what we're going to do is I'm going to open one of these, but just give me a second, because I see my battery on my overhead cam here is going to go low. So I'm going to switch out the battery. I'm going to switch to this other view, and just I'll keep talking while I do this, but I want to make sure that my one camera doesn't run out of battery while I'm filming it. There's gotta be a way to keep this thing powered the whole stream, but bear with me, guys. All right. All right, let's see if that worked. All right, so okay, cool. So this is what I want to open one of these. If you watch the other videos, I opened tons of these, but just to kind of give you an idea of what the actual vintage packs look like. And I'm going to do on my Patreon, I'm going to open that whole box of these baseball greatest gross outs. So we'll kind of take a look at these just for fun, and then we'll get back to making some more of my own. So as you can see, they're kind of, you can see how it's pretty close to the original. And some of these, we're gonna flip it around. Oh, look at that. That is like 40-year-old gum right there. That is like, that is pretty nasty. Like this, we got this card before, I know, so I don't care so much that I've got a damaged one. That's going to be the hardest part about collecting the whole sets, because you lose a card every time you open one because the gum always sticks to it because it's ancient. But Dogface Donald. Here, let me switch. See if I can switch over here. Let's see. So I don't know if that's a better view or not. So we got Dogface Donald, Rich Kid Richie. I don't know if I have that one. Let's see. This one I have, Ralph D. Rocker. Here, switch. Maybe this is the better view. Okay. Snoozing Sean. I don't think I have this one, so that's cool. Mitz Michael. I don't think I have that one yet. I mean, I might in the box. Oh, I love that one because I'm a big Frankenstein fan. Frankenstein, I love that one. That one I know I don't have. Tiger Tad. I don't have that one. I think I have this one, Tiptoe Tim. I think I have that one. And then they got facts and things on the back and everything like that. And some of them have puzzles. And the weird thing is, when I was looking through these, I realized well, these are all facts. This whole pack is facts. Okay, wow. Like there'll be a card like this. They'll have one version with the facts and one version with the puzzles. So you kind of have to. If there's like 83, I don't know how many. There's 80 something, maybe 85 cards. You can double that because I want to try to get one with the puzzle and one with the facts on the back. So these are just really cool. I love these, and that's kind of one of the inspirations I was doing when I designed my own. But I thought I'd open that just to kind of show you, just to compare how, how authentic we're trying to keep these here. Oh, and then we got Creed in the house. Where's my?
Welcome, true believers and newcomers alike.
Let's see. Pull this up. Creed's in the house. These are from classic times for sure. You're not allowed to call Donna Dogface these days. Well, that's kind of the good thing. You can get away with some of the stuff on here because it's meant to be irreverent. But I don't know. We'll see. Definitely with some of the videos that I'm going to be doing, a lot of it is super irreverent and everything, but it's supposed to be all in good fun with just the gross factor and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Let's do another. We haven't done one of these, so we'll do in a while anyway. So let's do one of my Young and the Dead wax packs. And again, we've got our paraffin wax. We're gonna go over here, just pressing down. Making sure that you've got a good handle on your paper, and you usually want to have some. I've got this paper under here because you're going to get wax all over your surface. You get wax all over your hands. Yeah, I figured Creed would probably really dig the stuff that I'm doing on the channel because it's all. I know he's, it says right on the thing, Retromaniac, so he's into that kind of stuff. So Creed, I'm trying to remember in comments if I've seen it, if you've watched any of the new videos, but yeah, I think you're really going to dig what I'm doing. So yeah, I've kind of known Creed for a while now. Okay, let's see. And again, we want to do front and back. That's one thing I don't know that I mentioned in the original videos that you could watch if you're paying close enough attention. And I'm the kind of person when there's a tutorial video, I'll pause it and I'll stop it and start it back until I can. How did he do that? So you can if you look close enough. Oh, I kind of tilted a little bit. You can see that I was doing front and back, but I didn't really mention it. So that's kind of why I wanted to do another video where I go a little more in depth. All right, so there we go. This one does have bubble gum, so we've got our bubble stick. I think they also make like a blueberry, but it might be fun to do, like if I had something where it makes sense to have a specific blueberry gum. But again, I'm kind of going for the vintage kind of true to what they were factor. So I'm just going to go with the regular pink bubble gum. We've got some cards. Let me find out where the end of this set is. Okay, there we go. We've got them all separated here. So that's the set. We're going to get just a regular paper. Now, the original ones, where is it? You can see from this piece, it's a little bit thicker. Not much. I mean, you can still see through it. Like if you look, you can, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but you can see, especially if it's white, the white part, you can still see through it. So it's not super thick. That's why I'm using tracing paper rather than, you could wax up a regular piece of just copy paper, and that might work, but it would have sort of a wax pack feel, but I'm trying to get as close as I can to the thickness, and that's why that 25-pound tracing paper is the closest that I found when it comes to wax packs. So, all right, we'll take a stick of gum, we'll take our cards, and as you could see, Edie was asking earlier, why don't I put plastic, wrap the gum in plastic just to make it a little more edible. Yeah, just because, again, the originals weren't wrapped, and that's what you get after 40 years. It's pretty disgusting, but they're disgusting cards, so it kind of, if you're into those kind of cards, you probably won't be too grossed out by the fact that that old gum. All right, so let me center these. Again, same process. Let me move this up a little bit so you guys can see. All right, same process. We're gonna put fold the top in, crease it right along here. Do both sides. Make sure it's tight, You gotta use 2 hands, crease it. Same thing here. And then we want to fold in, I'm going to fold in the one with the advertisement here. And then the one with the UPC next, because even though I'm not selling these in a store, I can probably press down. Like I said, if you press down a little bit, it gets a decent seal. But just to give it a little extra, I've got my little tool here. And if you just kind of jumped in, that specific tool, you can do the same thing with an iron or any like that. I do apologize because I can't remember his name. The guy that contacted me to kind of show me this technique, but he was doing it on he had like one of those not a space heater, just like a regular heater that certain homes have. Mine isn't kind of like that, but I know that it looks kind of like an accordion. You know the thing I'm talking about? Just kind of he's based in the UK. Kind of rubbed it over that and sealed it. So really any kind of heat source, as long as you're not going to burn yourself or anything like that. Again, Edie had mentioned if you could do it in a toaster oven. I would worry about that, and I don't want to be the cause of anyone burning their house down. So yeah, I'm not going to recommend that. All right. So what do you guys think? What do you want to do now? How long have we been going for? We've been going for about an hour. We can go for, another 20 minutes or so. And again, if you have any questions, and if you're watching this after the fact, even if you're not because it's funny because the live streams, they don't get as many comments other than the people that are here live. But if you have questions about this process, if you're watching the live stream on the replay, ask them in the comments, and I try to get back to everyone who leaves a comment. So, because my goal is to really, encourage people to do these type of projects, and then just build a community of just people that are making awesome stuff. And eventually, that's what I want the Patreon to become, is, and then have maybe a Discord or something attached to that, so people can just get together and share things, and share all these different files. And I mean, this is just the reason why I kind of switched from just all the comic content, even though I love comics and I'm still working away on my comic book. And there will be some comic book stuff, and especially it's kind of comic adjacent, because this is the kind of, not necessarily the wax packs, but a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is stuff that you order from the back of comic books that we're going to be recreating. But I got to the point where I just felt like, man, I think I told everything everything I know about making comics. So I think, well, now let me share some of this other stuff I know how to do, or things that I don't know how to do, and learn how to do it as I go. Because this is, the first video I did a couple of years ago on wax packs, they weren't. I don't know if I have. Let me see. If I have them, I want to show you the difference. If I can find them. I can. I don't know if I have any that are wrapped. Hold on. This might be an interesting comparison. Hold on, guys. I don't know if I have any that are wrapped. But so the old technique was it didn't even have the wax on it. This wasn't even a factor in the old one. I just found some sticker paper that was sticker paper that kind of had about as waxy as a feel as I could find. And then what I did was I took this sticker paper, let's pull some off. You can see it's a transparent sticker paper. And then I just glued that to wax paper. And that gave it the wax feel, so I could do the same thing where I heat it up and everything. But it got to be it's thicker. And this top part, I mean, I could go with this and do this now, and that's going to make it more like the wax packs. I could do that on this. But it's still a little too thick. And so anyway, the old technique that I was using, it was close. I mean, it was okay. But I mean, seriously, this new technique, this feels so much like the originals. So the goal is just to always be improving. And if I do a video on how to make something, and if somebody in the comment section or whatever has a better idea, I want to hear about it, because I might just do an updated version and come up and, it's all about experimentation. Like, I'm a big fan of, like, you guys watch any of like Mark Rober's videos, and he's an engineer, and it's all problem solving. Things won't always work out, but then that's how you learn and how you improve on things. So, and it's kind of the same thing with just trying to make something. I've got one video, I don't want to really mention what it is, but something that I'm trying to recreate from my childhood that I'm having a heck of a time. It's not, I tried finding all the, whatever instructions, and a lot of this stuff, there's no instructions online for it, but trying to find the best way I think how to do it, and it just hasn't been working. So, maybe I put that video out and it's just, it just doesn't work, and maybe somebody contacts me and say, well, have you thought of this? And I'm like, oh, that's great. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, not every project will work out. So far, my track record is pretty good as far as the projects that I've done that have tended to, I'm pretty happy with them. So, and I've got some cool stuff coming up. So, all right. So we got the Gross Food. Let's pick up another pack of my Gross Food stickers. And then also, let me pull up, we got comments here from Creed. I love the new direction, making retro stuff. It's so strange to me that no printer still does sticker cards in wax format. I think they'd be swamped with retro creators if they, yeah, I think so too. And like I said, there is one online, and if you just look up like either custom, if you Google custom wax pack or something, you'll find, I wish I had their card. Oh, here it is. I'll mention them. Like I said, you could, here, this is this is just the pack. I didn't order this from them. I just ordered the tip. So and then when I did that, I got some samples, and I don't have the samples with me right here. But this is the place online. It's Wax Pack Wrappers. If you search them, before you order anything from them, I would suggest getting some samples, because when I got the samples, like I said, I was a little disappointed. They aren't as true as this. It's like wax on one side, and they had a couple different ones, and it wasn't what I was looking for. I was a little bummed out, because I would much rather find a company that can do this, because the time that it takes to put these together, like, that's why it's very limited on my website with these packs, because I have to do all these. You can see how long it takes me to put these together. So I could probably, if I could get somebody that would make a bunch of them, then I could probably sell them for less, and I probably, it wouldn't be as time intensive. But unfortunately, I just haven't found anyone that does this kind of stuff. Cut out link the bubble gum there. And the white paper, again, the originals didn't have like a little white paper. That's just so it doesn't show through as much. All right, so here we go. Make sure it's centered there. And fold the top. Are the barcodes scannable? They aren't scannable, but here's a little Easter egg. The number on the barcode is actually my voicemail number. So if you call that, you will hear my voicemail. And I don't usually answer it. It's just a voicemail, and you can leave a message. And right now, it used to be my old actual landline, and I converted it to a Google Voice number. So it's mostly just scam calls and things like that. So I don't really use it that much. But if I get an actual legitimate message on there, it might be something I would reply to. But I don't really get too many of those before. But it's an active number. If you call, you'll hear me on the end of the other side of the message. So, all right, so we're gonna fold that one in. And also the same thing, that the offer for the t-shirt, it's not a real offer. So it's just just to give it that vintage feel. But I don't have any. I think I might have to I might make an actual shirt just for fun. You wouldn't order it through this, but you might be able to get it on Amazon with the Gross Food logo. I think I was going to do that at one point. See, I don't know. Now I'm thinking, it seems like just pressing down on this is a pretty good job. But again, I want to just run that over there. I think that'll do a better seal there. There we go. All right, we got another Gross Food wax pack. And sometimes, the other thing sometimes I'll do is I'll just press the corners, because they got kind of a, if you look at the actual, there's an actual pack, because they flop around, and they usually get kind of pressed in here. I mean, it's rare to get some that are in like mint condition, because they're just, they're collectibles, yeah, but they do get kind of banged around. And that may be another reason why they switched over to the plastic and foil. Because with things like the Pokemon cards and the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm probably outdating myself. I don't know if Yu-Gi-Oh is still a thing as much as Pokemon, but those cards are like highly collectible, and people typically want that fancy glossy look to it. So, but not me. I'm into this old vintage stuff. So there we go. So we got a couple packs of these. We've got, how many we got? I need to continue making some more Gross Food stuff. So. And then I'll make some more of these, but I'll just continue. Well, how about we switch and we cut a few more of these out, because I haven't cut any out in a while. So again, we can. Well, before I showed you just doing it exactly right. Like I said, you could also. I got a paper cutter here, so we could do paper cutter just as easily. Over. I don't know if this view is any better. Yeah, so just cut it like that. I mean, a paper cutter for this is a lot quicker. There's other projects that you can't just use straight lines. It kind of you need something like an X-Acto knife to do, or a Cricut machine or something like that. Make sure that's all lined up. But that was definitely a lot faster. So while I got that out, let me cut a few more. Make this quick, so we gotta just line it up on the top marks. And it doesn't have to be totally perfect. Like you can see, some of the lines here are still up there. But when you fold it all together, you usually don't see it. And then we can pull all the paper off here, because we don't need that paper back. That's just to give it to stability, so that when it goes through the printer. If you weren't watching the beginning, we take a glue stick and we run around the edges of an 8 by 11 paper, just the edges, and then we glue the wax the tracing paper to it, and then we run it through our printer, because this is too thin to run through most printers. And then when we're done, we just pull it off of there, and then we've got our wax pack. So let's see, we got some. We'll cut out a gross food one here. You can kind of see a little better. So the back of it, that's just a regular sheet of copy paper. Run the, I don't know, you would run this glue stick over all the edges, press the tracing paper down on it. That gives it some thickness to run through the printer. And there's no glue in the center, so once we cut all the edges off, we'll have our tracing paper at the right thickness, because it's, as you saw earlier, it's the tracing paper is a little closer to the thickness of the actual vintage wax packs. There we go. I probably cut that a little too short, just because those cards get kind of thick, but we'll see. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and cut all of these. Since I've got them, I'm going to cut all these out. Take the back off, it'll come right off now. We got one more that I want to cut out here. Oh, I got some underneath here. What? Oh no, that's not. That's just. Easy peasy. All right, there we go. Now, put this thing away. Yeah, I definitely need to remember to bring a garbage can out next time. All right, so now where's my sheet here? All right, let's do another gross food. Get my wax. Let's see. Oh, so we got some questions. Let me address the chat real quick. Let's see. The voice of treason. So, have you tried taking a pack of cards and with your bare hands submerging the entire pack in boiling liquid wax? The end result would be completely impractical and would be extremely painful. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's no. The goal here is to make this as painless as possible. Let's see, and then Frank says, I was unclear about the clear vinyl from the dollar store through my. I was about to run clear vinyl from the dollar store through my printer. Is that a no-no? Clear vinyl meaning like an acetate, or like a it kind of depends on the printer. If it's an inkjet, probably not. Like you can run. I mean, there's transparencies. Like we're talking about retro stuff. If you want to talk retro, I mean, they used to, when I was in school, they had the overhead projectors, and you needed, in order for it to project, because it wasn't like an opaque projector, you needed it to make transparencies. So you would put it on transparency film. But so if you run it through like a regular copy machine, you could probably do that, or like a laser printer. But I'm not sure. It kind of depends what you're talking about there, Frank. All right, so let's go and apply some more wax here. Yeah, and I would be really curious to find out how they did the originals, because I guarantee you they aren't taking like wax and like having some guy in a warehouse doing this. But it does give the same feel to it. So when you're working in like small quantities and things like that, that's probably, I think this is the best technique I've ever seen for doing these type of things. So, but I was thinking, oh, you might have to like, like Voice of Treason said, like, do you have to like dip these in there? But no, it's not that complicated. You can just rub it on like that. All right. And again, we're going to do front and back. There we go, front and back. Got plenty of wax on there. Pull some more cards out. And can't forget our stick of gum. Just gonna cut about the size here of the actual stickers there. Got there. We're gonna get our paper face down, line it up. Since you can see through the tracing paper, you can kind of see where the front of your pack is, where all the artwork is, the part that you want to be on front. Again, we're going to fold over the top, press down, get a nice good crease there. Yeah, the creases are usually, I probably could crease it a little better. Crease on the actual wax packs, because they're probably machine packed, I'm sure, are pretty tight. So I'm going to try to do that a little more with the, and even on the edges here, we can probably go a little bit like that. And then we're going to fold over the side with our little advertisement and fold over the side with our UPC. I'm going to give it a good run over there. And that, like I said, that's a pretty good seal, but just to give it a little extra, I'm going to run that over there real quick with that tool. Then press down, and wow, like I said, I'm gonna press down on these a little bit, give it a kind of a. I mean, that's it. That's so true to vintage wax packs. I mean, I loved it. I can never get old of it. I mean, tired of it. It's just like it just totally brings me back. And you know, if I was a kid and I knew how to do this, and of course we didn't have the printer. Printers weren't that easy to come by and all that kind of stuff when I was a kid. But if I had the ability to do this kind of stuff as a kid, man, like that would have been fun. Okay, we'll do maybe 3 more, okay, and then we'll kind of wrap things up. We want to do 1 more of each. So we got let's do a Young and the Dead. This one's got a little crease in it, and there is some, like the printer, I don't know if you can see, there's a little discolorization, but that's all right. You know, that's what gives these their vintage feel, is that they're not perfect. Now the question, and this isn't something I'm going to do, but or maybe I would. Yeah, I don't know. Is there any way to make like the foil cards at home? I don't know if that. I'm not sure if that's possible or not. I'm not sure exactly how you would do that. And I'm not sure if it's actually foil. It might just be. It's probably like a plastic with like a, I don't know, some kind of a like metallic coating on it or something. I could be wrong. I'm not sure how that works. But those are definitely something that needs to be a little more created by machine, I think. I don't know if that's something you can make on your own. All right. And again, if you're looking for these templates, I think if you join my mailing list, and then I don't know exactly if it's CircWorks. I don't know if you can search CircWorks on Substack, and I'm not sure exactly how that works. But if you join my mailing list, and when you get that newsletter, you should be able to click on it, and then and I usually send out newsletters every couple weeks, and there's usually freebies and things like that. But if you get the newsletter, if you click on that and go to like this, I'm sure there's some way you could look at the archives, and you could find and you can find the templates for these. Or on my Patreon, there's even more templates, you know. So it's kind of a tiered thing. So depending on what tier you are on Patreon, or if you're a member of the newsletter, you get some templates. But if you want the whole shebang, that's on the Patreon. So. And I'll be doing a live stream. I'm hoping to schedule it this week, or maybe this weekend, where I unbox that big pack of baseball's greatest gross outs cards. All right, so let's pull out another set of my Young and the Dead cards. These are from my comic book series, Young and the Dead. If you like Stranger Things and stuff like that, Goonies, all that kind of stuff, it's kind of like that, but with zombies. So, and I've got 5 issues available. I'm working on the 6th issue for this series. These ones do have a stick of bubble gum, so I'm gonna pull. I don't want that. Let's see. Cut that off. Hold on a second. Roll that bubble tape. All right. And there's that vintage gum. It's got the little powdery sugar on it, just like the old stuff. Just not quite as thick, but pretty close. All right. Here we go. Set that there. All right. Make sure it's kind of lined up with our. There we go. Make sure it's lined up with the front of our wrapper. A nice crease going on in there. Pull the bottom up. A nice crease there. We're going to fold over this side again. Oops. Set that crease in there. There we go. Pressure there. Just a little bit of a pretty decent bond there. But I'm just going to real quick run over there with that. The heat. Press down. What's a good printer to use? So I get that all the time. So ideally a laser printer. Laser printers are a little more expensive. Not everyone has laser printers. Most people have inkjet printers. You can do them on an inkjet printer. Now, if you're talking about specific brands, I'm really not the person to ask for, because every printer I buy, I end up hating. So with these, what I did was I took these files. I took the files for, you know, the templates and everything with artwork on it, and then I just put them on a flash drive. I went to the office supply store. You know, I set it up like I mentioned with the, you know, putting the tracing paper, gluing it to the back of the copy paper. Brought some of those with me. Went to the self-serve machine, and just ran it through their machine and printed them off that way. So that's how I did it. Just because, like, I have a printer, but it just, like, it doesn't print blue for some reason now, and I haven't bought a new printer. So I have so much bad luck with printers that I don't want to really recommend. All I would say is that laser printers are better. If you're going to use an inkjet printer, which most people have, you can do it. You just got to run them through one at a time, because the ink, it takes a little while to dry. And if you run a sheet through and then a second copy through, it's going to smudge it. So run your first sheet through, pick it up gently, set it aside, allow it enough time to dry, then you can run another sheet through. So that's the difference between the laser and inkjet printers. But as far as brands of printers, I don't know. I've never had any luck with printers. Oh, Adam Lohr in the house.
Welcome, true believers and newcomers alike.
Hey, Adam, how's it going? All right. So we are going to just do another one here. This is the gross food. These ones will be the gross food cards, or stickers rather, are available on my website. They're in limited quantities, so I think you might want to pick up one. I think I'm going to send, I got some orders. I think I'm going to send a few orders out today. So if you order today, it'll probably, depending on when, I guess, today you're watching. If you get it in soon, I might be able to get them out today. Otherwise, you know, I usually ship things every 2 or 3 days or whatever. So But as you can see, these are all handmade. So they're not big manufactured thing. They're all, touched by my hand and done with love and care, and it's just like a little piece of nostalgia from me to you if you order one of these. But they're over at circworks.com, the gross food ones. The other ones aren't. Like larger orders, I may throw some of these in with them. So like the either the Young and the Dead or the Mad Lab Monster Pack. So, and there's all kinds of cool stuff. Of course, that's not it's not for the digital products. I can't throw physical things in with the digital products, but because some of those are larger orders, because there's some giant packs and things, but I mean larger physical orders. Handmade is definitely the best. I agree. Okay. All right. So let's find a set of gross food stickers. Where are they? Here we go. Got 9 gross food stickers. Let's get our bubble gum. Take our kitchen shears. There. Trying not to put my fingers all on the gum, even though they're probably somewhat protected because they got wax all over them. Plus, I did wash my hands before doing that stuff. So. All right. All right. I'm gonna fold over the top. Go. Fold over the bottom, give it a nice, make sure that the creases are nice and tight. I'm gonna wrap over the side with our little special offer that isn't really a special offer because it doesn't really exist. Just for fun, just for nostalgic sake. And then pull over our UPC, which actually isn't a real UPC, but as I mentioned earlier, it does have the number on the UPC is actually my voicemail number. So, except for the 0 in front, you don't need to hit that. But, all right. So yeah, it's almost like every time I do this, it's like, wow, it almost seems like there's a pretty good bond just with the heat of your hands pressing it in. But just to be extra layer of protection, I run that over there, and then I'm going to press it down. There we go. I always like to brush the ends in a little bit. So we're getting a pretty good stack here. All right, so what do we got? I think we got one more to do. Which one is it? So we've got 3, so we've got to do one more of these. All right, and these are just fun. I just didn't want to do these are cards and things that I already had, and I thought it'd be fun to design labels for them. So I'm not just doing the same ones over and over for you guys to switch it up a little bit. All right, here we go. This will be the last one. And then we will wrap up the stream. Make sure front and back. Just do the back first, and it doesn't matter what you do first. Whether you do the front first and the back first, but you want to do both sides. Especially you want on the edges, you want probably a little extra wax. All right, let's do this side here. Now for the front, I'll just start with the edges here, and maybe I wasn't even thinking, but I think if we do the edges, maybe that'll give it a little bit more of a bond. See, as you go, the more you do this stuff, the more you get these little ideas like, oh, that maybe it makes sense, or maybe not, because looks like there's a little air bubble in there. But what I was thinking was, if you put kind of a bond in each one, then it maybe has less chance to crinkle, which looks like that might be the case. We'll see. Because you really want to hold it down, but I think if we run the stick along the edge first, we're less likely to, and then you can vertical and horizontal, we're less likely going to crinkle our thing here. All right, let's pull up. We got our, there we go. Can you see the, it's hard to kind of see maybe the way the light hits it, but it's definitely got that waxy feel to it. All right, let's set that down there. All right, let's see. So we got our, we got our mix and match monster cards. So this is the way, if there are any packs, there's full sets available online. They don't have packs on it, they just have bands around them. But if you didn't see the first one, so we've got different, so there's the Creature from the Black Lagoon, we got Bride of Frankenstein, we got the Mummy, and we've got, looks like a Wolfman body, and each one of these that I'm making right now will have at least one full character. So there's a full Creature from the Black Lagoon. I think those are the legs to the what's his name? The Phantom of the Opera. Or here we got partial. We got a partial here. Wolfman, Invisible Man. So, and of course you can mix them up however you like. So we got those. We're gonna pack these up. These ones don't have the gum with them, but we will want to put like a little sheet of paper there. Just line it up. Let's bend the top down. Add our creases. Just again, I always say it's just kind of like wrapping a present, more or less. So if you're, and you know, nowadays a lot of people don't wrap presents. So a lot of times they just stick it in a gift bag. So some people don't. I had to teach my son how to wrap presents not too long ago, and he's in his 20s. So, and it wasn't that long ago he learned how to wrap a present. All right, we can do the special offer first, because theoretically you would want your EPC code to be visible and not covered. So I'm just going to go through and along all the creases, and then, like I said, you can press down pretty much with the heat of your hand. It seems like it seals it pretty good, but just to be careful, I'm going to use my tool. If you don't have one of these tools, no worries. You can use an iron or like a curling iron, basically any kind of source. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we made today. We've got 3 Mad Monsters, 3 Young and the Dead, and then a whole mess of the gross food. Again, gross food is available on my website. So if you want to pick up some of these, they're available for a limited time. I'm only making limited quantities, so once they're gone, I can't guarantee. It's possible I might make more, but they do take considerable kind of work to put together and everything. But if you want to check them out, you can go to my website. If I can remember, I might go back. Well, there's a link in the description to my website, so it'll might not take you directly to these, but if you just go to my website, go to store, and you'll find these here. And then the other ones, like I said, maybe like larger orders, I might throw these in. I usually throw in extras with every order. So even if you're ordering a pack of these, you might get extra stickers, or I've got extra like gross cards and things that I try to throw in with stuff like that. So there you go. That's kind of what we did today. I want to thank everyone. Yeah, just really thank everyone in the chat. And spread the word, really, because I really trying to up my game here on YouTube. And if you have people that you think may be interested in this kind of content, where I'm taking all that vintage nostalgia and novelties and things from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and reverse engineering it, making my own personal version, and in return, you guys taking that advice or kind of inspiration from that and making whatever kind of wax packs you might want to make, or anything, grow stickers, any of that kind of, whatever you want to do. I'll be making all kinds of cool stuff, just diving back into all the cool things that I used to collect or order from the back of comic books. And that's pretty much what you're going to get here on the channel. Every other week you get a live stream, and then the weeks where there's not a live stream, There will be an edited video and everything, and I'm really putting a lot into those to kind of make them super entertaining and everything. And so far, I've got a lot of positive response going into that. So if that's something, if you haven't already subscribed, that's kind of the direction I'm going with the channel. Definitely check it out, and there'll be much more to come. And if you think you know somebody that might be interested in something like this, let them know about the channel, you know. So again, thanks to everyone in the chat. And if you're watching this after the fact, and if there's anything that I went over with how to make these wax packs that I wasn't clear on or whatever, if you have questions, other than, like, I do get the question about the printer, I'll lay that out here. I get that question all the time, and it's really, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, printers, I just don't have good luck with them. If I ever do get a good printer, I will let people know. But honestly, most isn't a printer per se. You know, it's most printers will be able to print these as long as your printer operates and functions properly, which mine doesn't, because it doesn't print every color of ink that I have for some reason. So, but most printers will work. Like I said, inkjet, there's a trick to it. Yeah, you got to let them dry. But even that, they still work pretty well. I don't even remember which ones of these were done on the inkjet. It might have been, I don't know if this one got a little different color to it. Maybe that's the inkjet. I don't know. But I did try it on there just to see if it would work. And it seemed like it worked pretty good. So there you go. And yeah, that's how. That's about all I have for today. We'll be back next week. I'll be doing another cool thing. Oh, and then if for those of you on my Patreon or thinking about joining my Patreon, the videos come out a week early. So after I get off here, I'm going to be uploading next week's video to Patreon. So you guys will. I know Frank in the chat, he's on my Patreon. There'll be a new video for patrons. So you usually put those out a week early, as well as additional templates and things like that, extras and things. And there will be a live stream coming up for certain tiers of the Patreon and everything. I might just open up to everyone on my Patreon just to give people an idea of what's on those live streams. But you know, moving forward, we'll have special projects and things like that as we continue to build this channel and everything. But thanks for stopping by, and I will see you guys. I'll see you guys next time. And that just goes out to all the people in the chat, people watching after the fact. And yeah, thanks. I will see you guys next week with another really cool video, reverse engineering some awesome 70s, 80s, 90s nostalgia. Take it easy.